it looks like it. I'm going to move this because it blocks my vision. Oh, thank you. The other ones aren't here. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Asasacha Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Anatakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki From Sikaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Yamuna Devi Ki Ganga Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Sankirtan Yagya Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda. Today, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 75, text number 8, and several verses after, since there are no purports or, okay, text, only one sentence purport. Ritvik sadasya bahuvistu suritameshu Svishteshu sunrita samardhana dakshinabhi Chaye cha satvata patesh charanam pravishte Chakrus tatasva avrivritasvapanam Tadyam Something's a little amiss there. Ritvik sadasya bahuvistu suritameshu Svishteshu sunrita samardhana dakshinabi Chaye cha satvata patesh charanam pravishte Chakrus tatasva avrivritasvapanam judyam Please chant. Chakrus tatasva avrivritasvapanam judyam Ritvik sadasya bahuvistu Chaye cha satvata patesh charanam Judyam Ritvik sadasya bahuvistu suritameshu Ye cha Sattvatapate Charanam Pravishte. Chaktrus Tatas Prabhapi Bidam. Ritvik, the priest, Sadasya, the prominent members of the assembly who helped officiate in the sacrifice. Vitsu, those who are greatly learned. Suritameshu, and the best well-wishers. Well, Ishteshu, being honored. Sunrita, with pleasing words. Samarhana, auspicious offerings. Lakshinabi, and gifts expressing gratitude. Chaijay, the king of Chedi. Shishupal, Cha, and Sattvatapate, of the Lord of the Sattvatas. Krishna, Charanam, the feet. Pravishte, having entered. Chakru, they executed. Tata, then. To, and. Avabrita Snapanam, the Avabrita bath, which completed the sacrifice. Dew of heaven, Nadyam, in the river, the Yamuna. Translation: after the priest, the predominant delegates, the greatly learned saints, and the king's most intimate well-wishers had all been properly honored with pleasing words, auspicious offerings, and various gifts as remuneration, and after the king of Chedi had entered the lotus feet of the Lord of the Sattvatas, the Avabrita bath was performed in the divine river Yamuna. Please read together. After the priest, the predominant delegates, the greatly learned saints, and the king's most intimate well-wishers had been properly honored with pleasing words, auspicious offerings, and various gifts as remuneration, and after the king of Chedi had entered the lotus feet of the Lord of the Sattvatas, the Avabrita bath was performed in the divine river Yamuna. Purport by the disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The gifts offered to the distinguished guest included valuable jewelry. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnanandjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. This is the end of the Rajasuya sacrifice. And we see here, this whole section is just steeped in culture. This is Vedic culture. And we see Yudhisthira, he's called a Jatashratu because he doesn't have any enemies himself. Only very few would consider him an enemy because he's so, we see here, like just this whole etiquette of how he honored all these personalities. Like, you know, this, we are reading in the fourth canto, Maharaj Prithu, and about also, he was also extremely respectful to everyone, including the citizens. But how Prabhupada talks all about this kind of etiquette of respect, how even an uninvited guest comes to your home, but especially if a saintly person comes, then you have to offer them, even if you have nothing. If you're extremely poor, you offer them a straw mat and a glass of water. So always the guest is offered a glass of water, and then pleasing words. And Prabhupada says that if you can't do that, then you should just cry for your lamentable position that you can't, receive a guest even with that much. So King Yudhisthira, he is so respectful. It said he properly honored, and then with pleasing words, he honored them. And then these gifts, they were jewelry. Where did they get all this jewelry? Well, remember when Arjuna, all four of the Pandava brothers, they went out before the Rajasuya sacrifice. They went out and conquered and got like the stamp of submission from all the other kings that they agreed to accept Yudhisthira as the monarch, and they would give tribute. And then all these kings that came for this Rajasuya sacrifice, they also brought gifts, and there was so much wealth and so many gifts, and then especially jewels, valuable jewels. They had to say, we can't take any more. Our treasury is so full, we don't need anything more. That's how much wealth they had. I was wondering, like how we heard about the other day, how Duryodhan, he volunteered to take charge of the treasury. And I was imagining why he did that, because he was so envious. This chapter is called Duryodhana Humiliated, but we haven't gotten up to that yet. But he was, by taking charge of that treasury, and all the gifts that were being brought, he was able to personally see, because generally one keeps their treasury rather private, but he saw all the wealth they had, and later he said, I even saw jewels that I never knew existed, and so it would just fury his envy. But here, this is like this whole culture of respect, like Rompad Swami gave a seminar. I saw like a whole days-long seminar just on respect, and like how according to one's position, according to one's relationship, that different personalities are respected in different ways. But we see Yudhisthira is most expert at this. And now this Avavrita bath, we have seen it many times in the Bhagavatam. At the end of a sacrifice, there will be a ceremonious bath, and that's the thing, everything's ceremonious, right? This whole Rajasuya sacrifice, extremely ceremonious. And then they all go, like first, the king goes and the queen, and then eventually all of the people go to have this final bath for purification. It means pushing down, so pushing down, all inauspiciousness, and it's a very important function of any great ceremony. So we see, just to take a bath, like how much pomp there is. I'll continue the next 2 verses, tell more about that bath. All right, so I'll just read the English. During the Avavrita celebration, it's a celebration, a bath is a celebration. The music of many kinds of instruments resounded, including mridangas, conch shells, panabas, dandoris, kettle drums, and gomukha horns. Oh, I see you have it there too. Female dancers danced with great joy, and choruses sang, while the loud vibrations of venas, flutes, and hand cymbals reached all the way to the heavenly regions. So if they reached to the heavenly regions, they must have reached all over the earth as well. So tumultuous was it. And just, just creating the great joy, because this Rajasuya made people extremely pleased. They were very, very happy with this whole celebration. And this is quite interesting, too, how the killing of Shishupal, how it's poetically written, after the king of Chedi had entered the lotus feet of the Lord of the Sattvatas. So that's when the bath was performed. And we see, like, wow, what a, we just can imagine, like, we know this Rajasuya sacrifice. I mean, it took a whole year for the 4 Pandava brothers to go and collect the allegiances and the tributes and all. And then I'm always amazed at, like, what manpower can do. Because they have manpower, they can put on this incredible festival, like all of King Yudhisthira's assistants. And like even like Dhritarashtra, when they're going to have the gambling match, he said, okay, let's build a hall for the gambling match. Like, just like that, let's build the house of lac so the Pandavas can be burned to death. Whatever. They just command it. And that includes roads going there. And anyway, it's just amazing how valuable every member of society is because all of these laborers, and artisans, how much they also contribute to the atmosphere of a culture and how very helpful they are. And just like now we're having, in just 5 more days, we're having our Rasa Chintamani, and we see how Aditya Narayan, just like Yudhisthira, he didn't ask for people to help with the immediate, but he had these people voluntarily, we read, they voluntarily, because of their eagerness to please Maharaj Yudhisthira, the best of kings, they volunteered for various duties. So because Aditya Narayan also is so loved, he has volunteers who, they were here since Mangal Arati. I was here at 6 p.m. They were still working since after the whole morning program, working all day. And I left. They were still here after 6 o'clock at night. And just to help out what it takes just for, this is only 550 people. That's relatively very small number. Like the Sadhu Sangha retreat is almost 4,000. Like what kind of organization it takes to pull off festivals like this. It takes so much organization and manpower and volunteers. So this is what we see again and again throughout these different histories of festivals, and how the thing is like how according to different modes of material nature, people are attracted, like everywhere in the world, people get together with others and for festivals and for ceremonies or for unmentionable things, like look at all the stadiums filled up, to watch sports events and concerts where like many thousands, and now there's a World Cup, right, going on, and just rallied together for that. So here, they're rallied together, and so right after this, then the kings start to leave. So I'll go on to the next verse. All the kings wearing gold necklaces. So these gold necklaces, King Yudhisthira gave so many jewels. They set off for the Yamuna. Oh, so this is them going to bathe. And then they always bring their armies. I don't know, just in case it's going to be a fight, they have to bring armies with them everywhere they go. Anyway, all the kings wearing gold necklaces then set off for the Yamuna. They had flags and banners of various colors and were accompanied by infantrymen and well-adorned soldiers riding lordly elephants, chariots, and horses. Wow. The massed armies of the Yadus, Srinjayas, Kambojas, Kurus, Kaikayas, and Koshalas made the earth tremble as they followed Maharaj Yudhisthira, the performer of the sacrifice, in procession. The assembly officials, the priests, and other excellent brahmanas resoundingly vibrated Vedic mantras, while the demigods, divine sages, pitas, and gandharvas sang praises and rained down flowers. So they're all going there to the Yamuna, and like, wow, it's such a humongous celebration. And now, like, this is something so foreign to us. Like I'm saying, there's different kinds of enjoyment, or it's kind of like recreation, we could say, but this is like unprecedented, these next two verses, and like, wow, we never do that. We do have Holy Festival, which is a little bit similar, reenacting Lord Krishna's Holy Festival with the gopis and the cowherd boys, but this is like kind of surprising. So here we go, the next two verses. Men and women all adorned with sandalwood paste, flower garlands, jewelry, and fine clothing, sported by smearing and sprinkling one another with various liquids. The men smeared the courtesans with plentiful oil, yogurt, perfumed water, turmeric, and kumkum powder, and the courtesans playfully smeared the men with the same substances. And then purport, this is from Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book. The men and women of Indraprastha, their bodies smeared with scents and floral oils, were nicely dressed in colorful garments and decorated with garlands, jewels, and ornaments. They were all enjoying the ceremony, and they threw on each other liquid substances like water, oil, milk, butter, and yogurt. Some even smeared those on each other's bodies. In this way, they were enjoying the occasion. The professional prostitutes were also engaged by jubilantly smearing these liquid substances on the bodies of the men, and the men reciprocated in the same way. All the liquid substances had been mixed with turmeric and saffron, and their color was an lustrous yellow. So what do you think of that? Like, can you imagine doing that? But Prabhupada says, just like if anyone's ever read Govinda Lilamrita, which is, I don't know, but like certain books like that, it says like we don't read those books if we have lust in our heart, because it will simply, we will impose like material lust on the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. But Prabhupada writes here in the Krishna book the same, you know, like, and then here, continuing that purport, it says here that especially Krishna and Arjuna, they started, they engaged in such jubilant activities, and they, they smeared these on the queens, because here we heard about courtesans and prostitutes engaging in this, but then the queens also, Krishna and Arjuna, were throwing substances on them, and they were shy, but they were like smiling and all. And Prabhupada says that persons who were not clean in heart were agitated by lustful desires. In other words, such behavior between pure males and females is enjoyable, but it makes persons who are materially contaminated become lustful. So we see there's many warnings for this, for like hearing such pastimes and then imposing our material conceptions upon them. But I thought, wow, this is like very much like foreign to our culture. And of course, you know, like, can anyone imagine doing this? like, and then I think, oh no, they're going to ruin their clothes, you know, with oil and all that. And they're going to waste all that dairy products, throwing yogurt and ghee and on each other. But, you know, after these Avabrita, all the clothes, like whenever they bathe, they give their clothes to the Shudras, the artisans and everything, and then they put on new clothing. But it's just something that I thought that is showing how there's a kind of protocol of what is enjoyable. Like we heard so much like of the great, great opulence. Like for example, there's many different descriptions in the Bhagavatam of different places. Like we have in the third canto description of Vaikuntha, like how extremely beautiful, and like very wealthy people, they always go to places like for vacation and that are very beautiful, and stay at resorts that are extremely expensive, but just to like try to squeeze some pleasure out of life, and how much environment affects our consciousness and affects our desires. You know, whereas devotees of the Lord, we prefer, you know, simplicity, as simple as possible, that we can live and give our energy for serving Krishna and for engaging in hearing and chanting. But like, for example, when Hiranyakashipu conquered the whole world, this is like even, yeah, right, yeah, when before he even, this after he did his great austerities, but he began residing in heaven. He actually usurped Indra's abode and kicked Indra out, and he was living there with its famous Nandana garden. So there's also an incredible garden called Nandana. We've heard of that many times, where the demigods come and sport. You know, others go there too, not only Indra. So they go there. And so Hiranyakashipu, he resided in the most opulent palace of Indra, the king of heaven. The palace had been directly constructed by the demigod architect Vishvakarma, and it was as beautifully made as if the goddess of fortune of the entire universe resided there. The steps, just the steps of King Indra's residence were made of coral. The floor was bedecked with invaluable emeralds. The walls were crystal, and the columns of Vaidurya stone. The wonderful canopies were beautifully decorated. The seats were bedecked with rubies, and the silk bedding, as white as foam, was decorated with pearls. So imagine, just the bed sheets have pearls on the borders of them. The ladies of this, and always there's beautiful ladies in these descriptions, the ladies of the palace who were blessed with beautiful teeth, also that's mentioned several times, having beautiful teeth, and most wonderfully beautiful faces, walked here and there in the palace, their ankle bells tinkling melodiously, and saw their own beautiful reflections in the gems. The demigods, however, being very much oppressed, had to bow down and offer obeisances at the feet of Hiranyakashipu, who chastised the demigods very severely and for no reason. So just showing a little description, because this is similar we see Dwarka when we hear about Dwarka, and Krishna's palaces also were like this, and how what is, what are all these natural elements for? And well, for the pleasure of the Lord, but to be used. Like now, like Prabhupada said, we just wear, plastic jewelry and engage in such very like base kind of enjoyment in this world. It's very, there's not the culture of where everything is filled with respect, and then the utilization of natural products that are produced by the Lord, like this, all of the jewels, and so elaborate was this whole Rajasuya. And also, as far as beautiful descriptions we hear in Brahma Samhita about the spiritual world, and about Goloka Vrindavan, how incredibly beautiful that is as well. But I don't think, like in Mahabharata, it goes into greater detail of Duryodhana's great envy, that so much that he was like just seething, and his bad advisor, Sakuni, he said, he just kept talking about their wealth, how much wealth they have, and how much power, how much everyone loves them, the Pandavas and Yudhisthira. So he said, there's another way. You don't have to kill them, but you can get the same wealth as well. And he said, all right, I'm going to do a Rajasuya sacrifice as well. And he was told, you can't, there's only one. As long as a person who performs a Rajasuya sacrifice is alive, no one else can have a Rajasuya sacrifice. You have to wait. And so, but there is another one, some kind of Vaishnav sacrifice. So do you know Duryodhana did the same thing? He also traveled and sent his brothers all over the world collecting tribute and all to do this, because he, it's like so painful to hear, how, well, the whole chapter, Duryodhana humiliated just by his own envy. That's why he's humiliated too, and just like false ego, being so embarrassed for falling into the water, and Bhima laughing at him, and the queens laughing at him. Like so very much. Whereas, what would we do? I mean, we wouldn't think it's such a big thing, right? If we fell into the water, mistaking it for land. And devotees would just find it amusing, I think. But again, imagine just the accommodation. He came, back to Dwarka after being away, because Krishna used to visit Vrindavan sometimes we think he left Vrindavan when he was 11 years old and never came back. But he did come back. He used to visit. But then he went back, and the prostitutes would be there in the welcoming party. They were considered valuable members of society, not quite like our prostitutes hanging out at the truck stops and on street corners. We call it the red light district, seedy places of town. But because men are so lusty, and like if their wife is pregnant, then they can't have sex, so they can't wait, for another year after the baby's born or however long. So then there's prostitutes so that they don't rape pure women or innocent women or young girls, so that they're protected. So in a way, we see the prostitutes are valuable in that sense. If men can't control their senses, then they're available, And so, but yeah, it is surprising. And anyone know the definition of courtesans? Is that? Oh, escorts. So kind of like sophisticated prostitutes in a way, or not quite, maybe. But anyway, we see that it's, yeah. So it is very interesting to hear about it. Like Urvasi, she's highly esteemed in Goloka. Such a, because being so very beautiful and so expert at satisfying men. You want a mic? All right, a question.
Let's say you met a person while he was doing books that happened to get a Krishna book, and they asked you a question about this.
That's why, I know that's why I'm asking you for your advice. But what was I to say? What am I to say now? Like I said, Prabhupada said that, people who are lusty, it will incite their lust. But we would say that this is like a different time, and so I don't know. It's just like the culture, how we create a protocol of what we're going to do to enjoy, kind of, and that was just one thing. I mean, if you think of it, we would all love to do that, wouldn't we? But we restrain ourselves, being practitioners of bhakti yoga, and of course most of our Indian, at least in the old days, now it's become degraded as well, but India especially had a culture, of segregation of men and women, and so because they're pure, like we saw Krishna and Arjuna took part and in this kind of play. It's kind of like we've done holy, so a little bit similar, but what would I say? that it's foreign to me, and it was just one of the things they did for playing. We see the queens, they were shy, not like the prostitutes. They were totally into it, but Krishna's queens, it said their faces bloomed with shy smiles. So like that. I don't know, what would you say? Or anybody, what would you say? Well, I mean, I think some of them were quite elderly too that were there. We know it did mention all the elderly members were invited to this Rajasuya, grandfather Bhishma and Drona. A calm got, yes. Yeah, maybe. But anyway, it is, like it was like freedom, like they could just act kind of wild how they don't usually act. Okay, All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
They do have these things nowadays, but they're usually associated with really crazy things like the Burning Man's,
Yeah, I went to that. Yeah, and should I turn it off?
Yeah, turn it off.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvantam Aravindanalayataksam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Praschcha Deshatarane Namaste
Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavadi Rashachade Shatarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Varinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare, Hari Bo Nitai Gaur, Hari Bo Nitai Gaur, Hari Bo Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bo Nitai Gaur, Hari Bo Nitai Gaur, Hari Bo Nitai, Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radhe Radha Golokananda, Golokananda, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavanikacharya Satara Sadashishi Manas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Wait to get out our Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopana Shaimakunda Radha Kunda Giri Gauranda Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. My Navadeep Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki. Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Brihad Mandanga Ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinda Ki. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to their Lordship, Shri Shri Radha Golokananda Ki Jai. How beautiful they are today. Every day, but every day they get better. Chaitodarpanam Marjanam Bhavamata Rapanam Preyakairam Yachandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratibanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita niyamita smaranena kala etadrishita vakripa bhagavan mamapi Durdaiva midrishami hajjalina nuraga Trinadapi sunichena charorapi suhishuna Amanina manadena kirtaniya. Boy, they're beautiful. Sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani ishvare bhavadad bhaktir ahoita kitvayi ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam buddha kripayata vabada pankaja stita duli sajashim vachintaya Nayanam Galadashu Darayam Vadadam Gadgarudai Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanamahakare Vishati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bhavishayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Aslishyavapadamritam Banastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu saevanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. They're not even